Hi there, I'm Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, March 7th, 2021. So, today I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about myself and how I got into doing psychic work in the first place, and a little bit about my history as a professional reader. Then I'm going to talk about the transits for this week. And then I'm going to do mini readings for all 12 signs. And this week, I'm actually going to put in timestamps below the video so you can fast forward to your sign. Okay, so I have been doing professional psychic readings for 33 years. I started doing them in 1988. Before that, I was doing readings for friends for a few years. Um, but people ask me all the time, did you know you were psychic? Did you have psychic experiences as a child? And I had a couple prophetic dreams when I was a teenager, and I had deja vu kind of experiences a lot. But I really had no idea that I was as psychic as I am or empathic at all. I didn't even know about empathy whatsoever. I did grow up with the story of my mother who went to the University of Texas in the 1950s and sought a reading from a psychic, Madame Hipple. And Madame Hipple had told my mother that she would meet a man named Bob in a uniform and see the world. So my mom grew up in Killeen, and after she graduated from UT, she went back home to Killeen and ended up meeting my father, who was in the Army and stationed at Fort Hood there in Killeen. So my dad, Robert, went by Bob. And after they got married, they moved to Germany, which is where I was born. And anybody interested in looking up my astrology, I was born March 26, 1963, in Frankfurt, Germany, at 6:15 p.m. So I was born in an army hospital. So it was one of my mom's favorite party stories was that a psychic had accurately predicted who she was going to marry. So I grew up with that story being told over and over and over again. So I had an openness around things psychic. Um, and like I said, there was two different occasions when I was a teenager where one time I had dreamt that someone was coming in my bedroom window. My bedroom was upstairs, and I dreamt that someone was coming in my bedroom window and walking across my room and picking up something and then crawling back out the window. And it woke me up and it scared me. And then the next morning, I was walking up the driveway and the screen was off the kitchen window, which was directly under my bedroom window. And I walked in and asked my mom why the screen was off the kitchen window. And she said, I don't know. Have you seen my purse? And so what had happened was that someone had climbed in the window and stole my mom's purse, which was, I was basically dreaming about what was happening underneath me as it was happening. And then the other dream that was very prophetic was that my father committed suicide in 1978 when I was 15, and the day before he committed suicide, this was not so much of a dream as a vision. I got a vision of him shooting myself, and I just thought it was an awful thought, and I just wiped it out of my mind. Um, had I known then what I know now, I would have identified that as a psychic hit and a psychic um, preview of what was coming on because it just gave me chill bumps everywhere. So now I'm very clear about when I'm getting psychic hits out of the blue. They're usually accompanied with energy or goosebumps that I feel physically in my body. So when I came to the University of Texas to go to college in 1981, I sought out that same psychic, Madame Hipple, who was older than dirt by then. And she was the first one that mentioned that I had strong psychic abilities as well. I don't remember much about her reading. She did tell me to be careful on motorcycles, and I did have a moped accident when I was in college a couple of years later. But then I went to see a palm reader when I was like 19 years old. I was a business major at UT. That's what I started off as. I kept changing my major, but at the time I was a business major. And I went to a palm reader and she looked at my palm and she said, you have a mystic cross in the center of your hand. I don't know I don't know if you could see it in this reading. So she said, "You've got a mystic cross in the center of your hand. You'll be making your living doing psychic work." I thought she was crazy, and I walked out of there going, "Oh, she didn't know what she's talking about." Like, it just seemed like, what? No way. Then I went to a psychic fair on the UT campus, and I sat down in front of Cheryl Starrett and got a reading from her. And all of a sudden, she was channeling from my father. Now, I'm a young college student. She would have no way of knowing that my father had passed. And the message that she gave me from him was just had me in tears immediately. And I felt like in the space of a 20-minute reading, she already knew where I was at. It like because of my father's suicide, I had already done a lot of therapy and counseling by the time that this had happened. And I felt like what she was able to get to or tell me in a 20-minute reading took usually 6 months in therapy to get to the point for the therapist to have that kind of understanding for me. So I walked out of that experience just really convinced that psychic abilities were real, that they were powerful, that they were a healing tool. Then I went to a psychic fair, I don't know, a year or two after that, and sat down with three different psychics, every one of which went on and on about how psychic I was. And so after that experience, I got up and said, okay, if I'm so psychic that all the psychics are going on about it, I should be able to access that and develop it and do that myself. And so I went and bought a deck of tarot cards. It was a traditional tarot deck. It was kind of cutesy version of it, but it was traditional. And I had been struggling to try to see my spirit guides and see auras, and I wasn't seeing any of that. So, and I was pretty frustrated. So one day I was living in an apartment and I was in my early 20s at the time. And my neighbors, I had a male and a female neighbor on either side, directly. My next door neighbors were both over visiting with me. And one of them looked down and saw my deck of tarot cards sitting on my kitchen table and asked, "So are you doing readings?" And I was like, "Well, I'm supposedly psychic, but I'm not getting anything from these cards." And one of my neighbors said, "Well, maybe you don't have the right deck. Maybe you could use a different deck and you'd get something stronger." And she said, "I have four decks if you'd like to look at one of mine." And the other neighbor popped up and he said, "Well, I've got three." So I mean, what are the odds, right? So they both went next door, got their cards, and then we sat there going through all the different cards. And one of those decks, at the time, it was the Aleister Crowley, the Thoth deck that one of my neighbors had, just jumped out at me. And so I had felt something, felt a connection with that deck. So I went out and bought that deck. And then I started doing readings for those. And right from the start, I didn't want to look at the meanings of the cards or what was in the back of the little book that came with it. I'm like, if I'm so psychic, then I should be able to get this by myself. So I was making up different layouts, and say I put a layout out of 15 cards or whatever, maybe I would get hits on three of them. So I would just go with what I was getting, and I wouldn't really stress or strain over stuff I wasn't getting. That's kind of how I started. And so I just started doing readings for friends and friends of friends. And one day, and as I work with them more, I was getting hits on more of the cards. I went from just getting hits maybe on three of the cards when I first started to like, okay, almost all of them I would get information about. So one day, a friend of a friend came over. I did not know this person at all. And I put the cards out as usual, I had shuffled. And then all of a sudden, I got what I now know was my first channeled download, which means I felt energy moving into the top of my head. I felt like the side of my face and down my arms. It was just like I was all goosey. And I just all of a sudden knew that this woman had been sexually molested by her father. Of course, I'm doing readings for fun, and these people are getting readings for fun. And I'm not going to say that kind of information. And I'm struggling with, oh, how could I couldn't get it out of my mind. I didn't know how to say it at the same time. And she kept looking at me, and like she could tell something was going on with me. She's like, "What? What are you getting? What are you getting?" And not knowing how I was accessing this information. Like, it wasn't like I was hearing it audibly. It wasn't like I was seeing a spirit guide telling me. It felt like someone had turned on something and the information was just pouring through me. And just apologized to her. And I said, I don't know where this information is coming from, but and I told her what I'd gotten. And her eyes just got huge and she started crying. And she said, how did you know that? And I just looked down at the goosebumps like on my arm and down my face. And with her confirmation, they just got like goosebumps on top of goosebumps. And I'm like, not sure how I'm getting this, except for my openness and willingness to be psychic. And so that's where it started. And I liking that vibe, getting in that energy flow, like tuning a radio station in the dark. Say if you were tuning you're in the car, it's late at night, you can't see, and you can tell when you're between stations, right? There's this energy, and then when you get on a station, there's a clear sound and signal, and you get music coming through or the sound of the DJ. That's the closest thing I can draw as an analogy to what it feels like when I'm just tuned in. So I just started surrendering more and more to that, and affirming that I was a clear and open channel before I would do a reading, and try to put myself in the space of sliding my own mind and what I think about things to the side, and sliding my own emotional body to the side so that I could be an open and clear channel for the people in front of me. And the turning point for me was I was going to a party at one of these neighbors' houses, and they had a bunch of people there. And one of them came up to me and said, I heard you do psychic readings. Would you do one for me? I'm like, yeah, let me go next door and get my tarot cards. I'll come back. And so then I sat down and did like a 15-20 minute reading. And they were like, oh my God, yeah, everything you said is so right on. And so everybody lined up for readings, and I did like 4 hours worth of back to back to back to readings, 15-20 minute readings for these and total strangers. And after I did that, I stood up from that event and said, and that's the last time I'm doing this for free. And so that's how I began my career doing psychic readings. At the time, I tried out as a reader for the Central Texas Parapsychology Association, which was putting on psychic fairs and readings at the New Age bookstore, next to Ray Henning's music, if any of you guys are old Austinites. Um, and that's where it started. And so that was 33 years ago that I started doing my first readings at the New Age bookstore, and the first psychic fair I did were 33 years ago. So I also do past life regressions. I had been regressed by another psychic before I started doing readings professionally. And then that was another thing. I started trying around with friends and see if I could regress people as well. And I regressed a few friends successfully as well, for them to be able to tap into past life. And rebirthings, I started with those at the beginning. And then after I'd been doing readings professionally about a year, or didn't take long before I started teaching people what I knew and doing psychic development instruction. And then later on added house clearings, and I've done countless parties over the years. And so I just really, really love my work. And I feel like everyone is psychic. We all are intuitive. And for some of us, the volume is just turned up louder. One of the things that I discovered in my exploration of psychic abilities was that I was empathic, that I was feeling what other people were feeling. And I just assumed, once I got clear of that I was doing that everybody operated that way and everybody soaked up everybody else's feelings. And not true. I also had the experience once of my oldest daughter. I came home from a psychic fair, and I had traded with some people who were doing aura photographs. And basically, you put your hands on these metal plates, and they projected what your aura was supposed to be, and they would take a Polaroid of your aura. So I came home from a psychic fair one day and tossed this picture down on the table, and my oldest daughter, who was 10 at the time, picked up the photo, and she looks at me, and she looks at the photo, and she looks at me, and she looks back at the photo, and then she tosses it down on the table, and she said, you have more blue in your aura than this picture. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Do you see auras? And she's like, yes, don't you? Like, no, I don't. So good to know. So psychic abilities show up in so many ways. Like all the senses that we have, there can be psychic abilities attached to those senses. So clairvoyancy, clairaudiency, there's so many ways that the psychic abilities can show up. Once I was regressed in a past life regression, it opened the doorway for me to be able to pick up past life information for myself and for other people. For myself personally, it would come just spontaneously, just kind of like sometimes something can trigger a childhood memory out of the blue, and all of a sudden you remember something you hadn't been thinking about or hadn't thought about in a long time. So similar experience of like seeing past life. I would see someone or meet someone, then I would get a flash, and then the more I leaned into that, more I tuned into, the more information I could get about that. So that's one of the things that I do in my work too is, um, do past life. If a past life information comes up in a reading for a client, I'll let them know what I'm getting, what I'm seeing. That's different than a past life regression where I actually guide you back and you're telling me what you're seeing in past lives. So, astrology, I read my first astrology book when I was 10. I've always been a student of astrology. So I really started focusing more on astrology in the last several years in terms of really feeling accomplished enough to call myself an astrologer. For years, I just did channeling using tarot. I would always get the person's birthday, and then once I started learning how to, like about 10 years into my psychic career, I started, finding out more about the signs and the planets and, a little bit about, I'll probably be studying astrology till I die because there's so much to learn. Several years ago, I started really delving into the transits, and those still fascinate me. To me, it's like knowing the weather report, being able to interpret what conditions are ripe for certain things. It doesn't tell you what's going to be happening, but it shows you when, I liken it to like knowing when we have a chance of thunderstorms, or knowing when there's tornadoes possible, or when it's going to be 100 degrees outside and sunny. It's like we're all influenced by our environment. So, and the stars are really like a mirror to the soul. They're just magical. And the more I learn about the planets and the asteroids, the more fascinated I am. I'm always finding it interesting when I'm doing private readings for clients that I'll see like the moon and Neptune are the most psychic planets that we have, and almost always either their natal moon or their natal Neptune is strongly aspected by a transiting new moon or Neptune when they're getting a reading. It's very interesting to me how things will line up even when they choose to get readings. So, anyway, so that's kind of the little bit of short story of how I got into my work, um, and what I'm doing today with that. So, and we'll move on to the transit. Speaking of, all right, so the sun, as I'm recording this, is at 17 degrees of Pisces. So it's a little bit more than midway through the Pisces transit. And I talked about last week how Pisces is the 12th house in an astrology chart. So it's the unconscious, the subconscious, it's past life, it's our karmic debris, our karmic storage. It's the sign that represents that. It's also very spiritual and very psychic. So, excuse me, as the sun transits Pisces, it's our opportunity to review our karma, and often we'll get tested on karmic challenges. I had one come up this week, a situation where my normal karmic pattern would have been to do, my default would have been to behave in this way, to respond this way to a certain situation. And because I was keeping my eye out for what kind of karmic situations might be coming up, I saw it as it first presented itself, and I purposely chose to do something different than I usually do. And I felt like I passed my test this week. So it'd be interesting to see if you felt like you were tested karmically last week. Same thing's going to be true this week because we're still in Pisces. So, and not only that, we have Neptune is in Pisces right now, and Venus is in Pisces. So as I record this, Neptune is at 20 degrees of Pisces, and it's been sitting there for a few weeks now. So, and the 2 is I feel, and the 0 is holding space for, right? So I feel, and I'm holding space for all things psychic, all things spiritual in Pisces. That's one way I'd read that sign. So Neptune, the high end of Neptune it's like the high end of Venus. It's like spiritual love, it's spiritual connection, it's the psychic antenna. So it's when it's bringing out the positive qualities of the Neptune, you can have strong psychic downloads, you can have vivid dreams, you can have powerful spiritual experiences. On the downside of Neptune, it can mean delusion, illusion, conspiracy thinking, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, addiction to anything. And so that's all planets have like a positive side and a negative side. So right now we're being karmically tested around our intuition. Like, do we listen to ourselves? Do we listen to our own intuition? Or do we override it and let the mind just create nonsense and we listen to that? Are we struggling with addictions of some form or fashion? Or are we addressing our addictive nature and passing the karmic test and saying, nope, not going to do that? Not going to pick up that anymore. Been there, done that, not doing that again. So as the sun transits Pisces, it's our opportunity to really transform and change our karma when it comes to, especially with Neptune there, addictions is one of the things that we're getting tested on. All of us, everyone on the planet. With Venus there, Venus is who we love, what we love, how we receive energy from others. It's all things of beauty and art. So with Venus in Pisces, it can be beautiful spiritual experiences, beautiful psychic experiences, beautiful past life because of the Pisces relationships, people that we've known from the past surfacing and coming into our lives. Right now, Venus is at 13 degrees. And so 13 makes to a 4. It's a breakdown, breakthrough. 1 is I feel, and 3 is about I believe. And so it makes to a 4. No, actually, 3 is I think, and then the 4 is an I believe. So the 4 is a breakdown, breakthrough energy. So any planet that's at 4 degrees, 13 degrees, or 22 degrees, you could often experience a test of that sign or a test of that planet, depending on what's going on, or both. And it can be very volatile. It can be breakdowns, but it can be breakthroughs. It can be wonky. And so Venus at 13 degrees can mean wonkiness around relationships because it's in Pisces. People can be checking out, ignoring what's going on in the relationships. On the positive side, they can be tuning in, getting psychic information, psychic downloads, spiritual connections with the relationships. So we've got this stellium in Pisces, and later this week on Saturday, well, actually it'll be Friday nights, like in here in Austin, it'll be 4:23 a.m. happening. Late Friday night, early Saturday morning, we'll have a new moon in Pisces. And at that point, Venus will be 1920, Neptune's at 20, the sun and the moon will be at 23 degrees. So they'll all be together in the skies. I see this as a beautiful kiss time. So again, new moons are where we can plant seeds, start new things, start new projects. It's a very powerful time if you make an intention on a new moon, or carried in, or you could make the intention Friday night before you go to bed of what new things you want to start. Here it is, new karmic patterns you want to begin. You want to replace, I used to be doing it this way, I want to do it this way. Since Neptune and Venus are in the mix as well. It can be new intentions around your spiritual growth, your psychic growth, your love life, new projects that you love, new spiritual practices. It's a really beautiful, powerful, potent new moon. So I would be thinking this week about what kind of intentions you'd like to set for the new moon. So you have almost all week to get clear about what that is. Any planets, when we have any planets in Pisces, there's an opportunity to have downloads, psychic downloads, spiritual awakenings, karmic situations being revealed, an insight into our subconscious. That's also a 12th house thing, subconscious, unconscious. So we can really see the why of things. Maybe we can get the answers to our questions. So this would be a great time if there's things that you're chewing on, things you don't understand about something or someone in your life, to go to sleep every evening with the intention of something being revealed, and see if your dreams don't show you, because the veil is thinner when we've got all these planets in Pisces. So there's an opportunity for psychic spiritual downloads and new beginnings when it comes to psychic spiritual things. Right now, the moon is in Capricorn. It'll be in Capricorn tomorrow and Monday as well. Then the moon moves into Aquarius on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Thursday, the moon moves into Pisces, where it'll be into the new moon. And then later in the day, I think on Saturday, it'll be moving into Aries. So that's the transit of the moon this week. We'll have Venus squaring the nodes on Tuesday. So Venus, this planet of love and passion and receptivity, is going to be squaring, which is a conflicting part of the North and the South node. The North and the South node are points in the sky. They're not actually asteroids or planets. And they move counterclockwise. So they're always moving in a retrograde energy. Right now, all the rest of the planets are moving forward. So this is a great time to initiate new projects and get things started. Since all the planets are in forward motion, we don't have any resistance, right? So right now, the nodes are at 15 degrees. So the North node is at 15 degrees of Gemini. The South node's at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. The North node in Gemini rules our thinking, our communication, our head. It's ruled by Mercury. So communication, transportation, technology, travel, the media, social media, these are all things, our thoughts and how we think are ruled. So collectively, the North node represents what we're collectively, everyone on the planet is being taught, lessons learned. So right now, the emphasis is on what we think, how we think about things, how we engage in communication, how we think about ourselves even. And then the South node is what we're letting go of, what we're releasing, where there's karmic situations that we're transforming. And the South node in Sag means we're transforming our belief systems. So we're letting go of beliefs that don't serve us. So there's a lot of restructuring and opportunity during this transit. And the nodes take 18 months, a year and a half to transit the sign. So we're like halfway through this transit at 15 degrees of that. It's an opportunity, but always Gemini is the twins. So there's a Jekyll and Hyde factor. There's the pros and cons. There's the not being able to take in media, people being stirred up into what they believe and standing up stronger into what they believe, what they think is true with the Neptune energy in Pisces. It also can be this confusing. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. So when Venus squares the nodes, so Venus can be challenging us to look at what we think to be true or what we believe to be true about our relationships. What do I believe? Do I believe I can manifest a wonderful, fabulous relationship? Or do I think and believe that I always get the raw end of the stick? I never find I'm always going to be alone. Like, what are you telling yourself? This is an opportunity this week to really decide you're going to shift and think new thoughts. You're going to let go of outdated beliefs and open up to something really beautiful when it comes to your relationship. So Venus is prominent this week, not only with this squaring of the nodes on Tuesday, but the moon crosses Venus on Friday, right before the new moon on Saturday. So there's a kiss when the moon and the Venus are together. It's just highlighting, emphasizing the energy of Venus. And so Venus can be strong. So again, this could be an active week of, you could come to crosshairs in relationships. Because of the square with the nodes, you can have insights and ahas around relationships this week because we got the Pisces energy in. You could have past life relationships come in, or relationships from the past surface this week. So Venus is strongly aspected and activated this week. So it can be a beautiful, and also it's like what you love, what you want to put. You might decide, oh, it's been so long since I painted, and you might find yourself breaking out the canvases and the paints this week because it's something you love and you feel drawn to doing that. You might sit down at the instruments you haven't played in a while. You pull out the sketchbook and start drawing. We decide to cook up new recipes. These are just examples of ways that it can also just be with yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be with relationships, but I would guess with all this strong Venus energy, you're going to feel it in your relationships some way this week. And this is all relationships, not just primary relationships, relationship with your neighbors, with your friends, with your coworkers, but significant other relationships. Definitely, there should be some big ahas, could be breakdowns and breakthroughs. Interestingly, on the day that the moon crosses Venus, the sun's at 22 degrees, which is, again, mixed to a 4. It's a breakdown, breakthrough energy. It's also, since it's double twos, it's I feel and I feel some more. So you may really be feeling strongly about someone. They may contact you out of the blue. Someone you may be psychically thinking about. Those kind of things would be easy to happen this week. The sun will be conjoining Neptune on Wednesday. So the sun illuminates, so it'll be bringing extra emphasis to these aspects of Neptune that I already talked about. The high end of the scale, spiritual, psychic downloads, the low end of the scale, emphasis on addiction, illusion, delusion. So, make sure that you're paying close attention to where you're putting your energy and your thoughts on that day, because it's a great day to have like meditate and get some amazing information from divine. Amazing dreams can come through, but it'd be easy to like eat too much, drink too much, that kind of a thing too. So watch the energy there. Mars is going to be at step 4 on Thursday. Right now, Mars is at 2 degrees. So Mars has moved into Gemini, right? I don't know if you felt it. I felt the shift this week. Of course, I'm a triple Aries, so my ruling planet is Mars. As Mars was moving through Taurus, I just couldn't get my energy up for things. I just felt so sluggish and slow moving. And then as soon as Mars moved into Gemini a few days ago, my energy picked up. I could feel it. I got creative. I actually put energy into my business page on Facebook, which is called Psyched Up, Psyched-Up. So if you're on Facebook, please check out my new business page that I've gotten up and activated. Like it. I'll be posting these videos on that page now moving forward as well. I've already put about the most recent 20 or so are on the page. So, and if you have already gotten a reading with me, I would love for you to go on my page and write up a review recommendation. testimony. There's this place for that on the page. So I would love it if you would do that for me. The nodes shift to 14 degrees on Thursday as well. So this makes to a 5. There's a lot, again, a lot of this emphasis on what do I think to be true. It's also what I love and what I believe. And so there can be some, if you're doing, if your thinking is off track, your belief systems are off track, I think they're going to be tested, and you're going to have a mirror shown up into your face this week about where you can shift your perspective, where you can implement new ways of thinking. If you've got negativity, if you're negative about yourself or other things or other people, that may really be highlighted, and you may really shown this negative belief. If you're positive thinking, you may see that you manifest even quicker, because if you're thinking clearly and you're believing something strongly, you can manifest very quickly. So you may find that things you've been wanting to manifest really manifest quickly with the power of all this mercurial energy going on. Even the new moon and the sun are in the same degree at 23 degrees on early Saturday morning. This makes to a 5, which is rules your thinking. It's the degree of Mercury. So Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. So so the notes I put down for this week. Oh, I want to talk about Pluto too, and some of the other planets. So Pluto is at 26 degrees. So the United States Pluto is at 27 degrees. So we're having a Pluto return. Pluto is a slow moving planet, and it goes forward and it goes retrograde. It's going to be until it bops up into Aquarius for the first time in 2023. Then it bops back. It will be staying in Aquarius up to 2024. So we've got 3 more years of Pluto moving through the last degrees of Capricorn. And so, including conjuncting the United States South Node. I mean, not South Node, Pluto. My personal South Node is at that same degree, 27, which tells me that I was involved in some form or fashion with the founding fathers and the formation of our country in a past life. So, we're the rebels, right? We were rebelling against the rule of the king in England when we formed our country. And who formed our country? White men, right? Right then, the women didn't have any power of vote back then, neither did minorities. And so these last degrees of Capricorn represent power and control issues, the old patriarchy. With the Pluto return, as I see it, we are transforming that old paradigm and replacing it with a new paradigm that's about all people mattering, not just the white male, the power over the ones with the most power and money are the ones that control things. That's going to be an old story. And so we're having the collapse of that. It's like that's like the tower card, basically. If you know anything about tarot, we're going to be experiencing this tower card energy, the collapse of the old systems. Pluto can also be secrets being revealed. So the secrets of those that are in power being revealed. I think it's interesting that what's going on with in New York, with Cuomo having secrets being show up about him. That's a classic example of secrets coming up and out around those that have power and control. So I expect more of that. That's going to be the theme for these next several years, of seeing the corruption of those in power being exposed. So expect more to come when it comes to that. There'll be many, many, many stories in that theme coming up. And what are your karmic stories? What are you transforming right now in your life with the sun transit through Pisces? What would you like to significantly change about your life? This is an opportunity this week with a new moon to transform your karmic story. Wherever you get stuck and held up and repeat a pattern over and over and over again, it's an opportunity for you to heal that. We've got Mercury is still in its shadow. No, it's going forward, but it's still going over the areas where it went retrograde over. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm still experiencing Mercury retrograde symptoms still. Like it seems like it's been more intense since Mercury started going direct than it was when it was going retrograde for me personally. So next Sunday, we've got one more week of Mercury moving through its shadow, and then it'll be moving into New Frontier and moving into Pisces. So, but right now, today, as I record this, it's at 20 degrees and of Aquarius. And Jupiter is at 18 degrees of Aquarius, and Saturn's at 9 degrees. So we've got still the stellium of planets in Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. It's the maverick. It's transforming things. It's breakdown, breakthrough energy in a sign. If you know any Aquarians, they're hard to predict, right? You never know what they're going to do next. They like to shake it up. They like the unique and the different. And so Saturn is our structures, our rules, and how we form things. And in early degrees of Aquarius, it's really how we structure our own lives. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to start new habits, behaviors, groups, the way we organize our time, the way we do our food, the way we do our exercise, the way we balance our lives out. It's a wonderful time to set up new boundaries with ourselves, in particular, in these early degrees of Aquarius. Jupiter expands things. It brings light to, and it's like a kiss. It's a beautiful, positive energy. So Jupiter in the mid degrees is about bringing gifts to everyone, really. And so right now it's transiting. It's 1 degree around my Saturn, so it's like rewarding where I've restructured my life. That's how I look at that. And it could also be a test of other people trying to place boundaries or rules on me, and me being able to like do what feels right for me instead of felt like underneath someone else's mercy or control, or someone else gets to call the shot. Like, no, I'm calling the shots now. It's also shining a light. I have my natal Saturn in Aquarius, which means I always do things outside the box, do things differently, right? If you know me, you'll know that that's true. I mean, just being a psychic for a profession is really doing things outside the box, especially having done it for over 3 decades. My Venus is also there. So, who I love, what I love. I have 6 interracial children, so even my relationships have been outside the normal box. I've homeschooled all my kids. I've birthed them at home. So I just love to do things differently. That's just an example, just showing from my own life how planets in Aquarius can show up as rebels. And so with Saturn there, like everybody might feel rebellious. Like we're all, especially because of the lockdown, everybody's getting antsy and like, I'm tired of being stuck. I'm tired of wearing these masks. I'm tired of doing it this way. So how can you transform your life with this energy? Where in your life can you change up how you do things and doing them in a new way, inventive way? Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus is the sudden, unexpected shock that shakes things up and brings about a spiritual healing, a spiritual revelation. It may tear things down or take things away, only to put you in a situation of having a better thing in its place. So with these outer planets moving through this energy, it's with Jupiter there, it's expanding this principle of Aquarius that can show up in all kinds of different ways in your life with Jupiter going through Aquarius. Sudden unexpected things can come in right and left for everyone. Mercury is again reventing reinventing how you may communicate, how you approach communication, coming at your communication, your thinking from different angles, different directions. Um, all right. We have Chiron is at 7 degrees of Aries. So Chiron is the wounded healer. This is the transiting Chiron. Wherever Chiron is in your natal chart is usually where there's an area where you've been wounded in many, many lifetimes in this area, so that the wounding shows up usually early in your childhood. And it's an area, it's our weak spot until we heal this area. The Chiron is the key, its glyph looks like a key. So it points to and shows us the area that we need to focus our healing. And once we heal the area where we've been wounded, it becomes a place of strength instead. So the transiting Chiron has been moving through early degrees of Aries for the last couple of years. So it's been helping us heal how we feel about ourselves in different ways. The 7 is how we feel about our spiritual connection with ourselves, how we feel about our psychic connection. Do we feel, have we had spiritual wounding, psychic wounding? Interesting, this week, Ceres is an asteroid as well that's going to be crossing over Chiron. And Ceres is like a mothering, nurturing energy. In your birth chart, it's often how you desire to be nurtured or mothered. It can be what you look for in qualities in a partner in terms of nurturing and mothering. So with Ceres crossing over Chiron this week, it is helping us be loving and compassionate around how we work, how we think about ourselves. I think it's going to help us have more compassion and self-love this week. So we can really, instead of like, ugh, or avoiding something, we can really have great compassion for ourselves. Because if we're not beating ourselves up for something, it is so much easier to move through it. Like if we can have compassion and grace with ourselves, it's a lot easier to just flow through space and time. And so I feel like that's a beautiful kiss of this that this week has, is Ceres bringing this loving, nurturing energy around the healing, so we can really have this beautiful inner healing. And it's particularly around any psychic wounding, any spiritual wounding, our opportunity to open up to psychic things within ourselves, open up to spiritual connection within ourselves. There's a beautiful energy around that this week. Uranus is at 7 degrees of Taurus. It is the breakdown, breakthrough energy. It's revolutionizing Taurus energy. Taurus is the second house. It's our values, how we value ourselves, our valuables, our food, how we store things. It's our money, how we store things. And so we may be having sudden, unexpected things with money issues, with how we value ourselves. It's an opportunity to move up to new levels in this way. Again, Uranus might take something away, but it'll replace it with something even better. And it is going to be squared Saturn all year long. So it's sudden unexpected things squaring off with how we form things and how we're governed and where our rules and our boundaries are, both internally and externally. So at any point you can have this revolutionary shift or aha this year about, oh, I need to do things this way, or I want to do things this way. And it may come in as a sudden, unexpected aha. You may have something negative happen that makes you go, that's it, I'm done with that. I'm not going to overdrink anymore. I'm not going to, whatever it is, right? We also have Black Lilith in Taurus. Black Lilith is at, I didn't look at this beforehand. She's at 15 degrees of Taurus right now. So Black Lilith represents our deepest fears from the past. Fears are false evidence appearing real, but it's also, since it's in Taurus, it's bringing up fears of and testing around, do we value ourselves? Are we valuable? It's we might have opportunities to stand up for ourselves and say, hey, I'm worth this. Hey, that's not okay. Like, you can't do that. It doesn't work for me. I deserve to be paid this, I deserve to get this. So I see these as gifts. Mars in Gemini is like, it's just easier for us to move forward in an air air sign. Again, you might want to put energy into your communication, into your technology, your computers, your phone, your car, all may be receiving your energy as Mars goes through Gemini. It will also be crossing the North Node, not this week, but it'll be starting to get closer to it. So we'll have this North Node energy. I'm expecting sudden, unexpected things happening in the headlines because North Node in Gemini. Gemini rules the media, news. So, and with Mars approaching it, there could be volatile news stories, surprising news stories, though, in the Uranus piece happening this week. Let's see, is there anything else I feel like I need to talk about for this week? No, wonder. I think this should be. It's a great week for personal shifting. I think it's a great week for getting clear around relationships and having some lovely energy going on. This is a great week for psychic, spiritual connection and downloads and reveals. And this wonderful opportunity with the new moon to plant new seeds, new karmic stories that you want to grow and bloom and blossom in your life. All right, so that's what I have when it comes to the transits for this week. So now I'll move on to mini readings. I'm just going to do 3-card readings. I'll pull extra cards if I need some clarification. So this is if your sun or your moon or your rising sign is in Aries, or you have a stellium, which means 3 or more planets in a sign. So this is for Aries energies. And we'll see what's going on. This will just be for this week, these readings. And this is way less cards than I put out for a psychic reading. When I'm doing private readings, I use way more cards. This deck that I'm using is the Osho Zen Tarot deck. I highly recommend it. It's the one I teach people how to do readings with. So, all right. So let's see what's going on with Aries this week. Hearing frustrated. Feels like there's some Aries that have been frustrated. Yes, I would confirm it. All right, so this card comes up first. It says guilt. This card I've found is not always guilt. It can often just be pulling your hair out. Like, again, being frustrated, just feeling like you can't figure it out. It could be guilt, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this differently. But more often, I see this card as just when you're up in your head too much, you can't figure something out, you're frustrated, something's made you angry, or there's just a whole. So this is recent past. So someone's pissed you off, you can't figure something out, you're stuck in your head. And so the best antidote for being stuck in your head is meditation, getting out in nature, soaking in the tub, doing spiritual practices, getting it out, writing in your journal, telling a friend, this is what's up, just to discharge the energy. Chewing on it internally can just make you cray cray, and it can leave you feeling exhausted. All right, so the bridge that's crossing right now is the dream card. So this card comes up very often when people are in relationships, and what they're envisioning about the relationship is this beautiful thing. Yeah, what they're experiencing is this. They're not experiencing the optimum of what they sense is the potential in the relationship. This comes up so very often in relationships where people are settling. Their psychic abilities usually let them be able to see someone else's potential, and so they lock into that potential, yet what they're receiving is not that. So you have to really look at what's suiting up and showing up in your life every day. It also can be an Aries you're alone, you're not in a relationship, and you're thinking about what you want to manifest in terms of relationships. So on a positive spin, it can be that you are putting out the vision for what you want. You're making a vision board, you're writing it down, you're getting clear about what it is that you do want, even though you're not now experiencing it. And then it can be just about approaching or envisioning a dream. No matter which of these scenarios going on for you, Aries, it's about taking some sort of action to make your dreams become real. So you're not going to manifest your dreams just by sitting there and fantasizing about them, right? If you're in a relationship and you're realizing that the potential you see is not what you're experiencing, it may be time to make a change in that relationship. If you're alone and you're not in a relationship and you're envisioning the ideal relationship, what kind of action are you taking to make that become real? Are you online? Are you making a vision board? Are you affirming? That's a powerful thing, to trust that you will manifest what it is your heart's desire. If you're dreaming about something that you're creating yourself, you've got the vision of, what are you doing to make it become real? What actions are you taking right now? The near future this week for the Aries is possibilities. Things are opening up. Things you might not have even thought about may be coming in. There's the opportunity to have a higher perspective. This eagle represents seeing things from a different perspective, from a higher perspective. There could be making plans about travel coming up, but it feels like there's some good news coming in, being able to see a situation, this situation that you're frustrated about, you get an aha, you get some distance away so you can see it more objectively. So there's really lovely insights, spiritual inspiration, reveals, and you may begin planning a trip, Aries, this week. All right, Taurus. These cards really want to be changed a lot today. Jumping around, I just feel the energy in the card. People ask me, well, how do you know how long to shuffle? It varies. I shuffle till it feels done. It's like, how long do you bake a cake? Till it looks done. With the cards, till it feels done. All right. So the Taurus, the recent past for the Taurus is the compromise card. So in a situation where it was not working for you, you are settling, you're having to negotiate something that's not good. You got into a bad negotiation of some sort. You said yes to something you wish you hadn't. You did something that, I wish I hadn't have done that. There's definitely a compromise, a place where you weren't in the flow, you weren't listening to intuition, you were just letting someone else convince you, something like that. There's a scenario, and it feels like there's remorse and regret based on the fact that you've settled, you compromised. This isn't a positive compromise I'm feeling, Taurus, in the recent past. It's like, I wish I hadn't have done that. It's that feeling. The bridge that's crossing right now is the no thingness card. This is the blank, clean slate. This is the new beginning. This is where you can create something new. Something new is about to start. Something new is about to begin. It's a wonderful time for creations of all kinds, writing, music, dancing, whatever it is that you want to create, new jobs, new relationships. There's a wonderful time to begin something new. Near future is the fighting card. So this is like, and it feels like it may come up unexpected, where something makes you angry, pisses you off. You end up in a rah, rah, rah with somebody else. The good news is the transformation comes up along with that. So I don't feel like it's a situation that lasts long, and it's an opportunity where something may come up and really upset you, but you get to move through it quickly. You decide, you get a higher perspective, you turn poison into medicine, you're able to shift it and transform it. So just be aware, be on guard for something that may come out of left field that may piss you off. The more you can sidestep it, step out, step away, let it pass quickly, the better off you are. If you step in and engage and you can get yourself all shaken up around it. So try to be on the lookout. And it may be connected to this compromise situation too, like this situation where you've compromised in the recent past comes to a head and you just decide, F this, I'm out of here, like, so it may be something that's connected. It may be something that's completely out of left field. It's going to be different for different Tauruses depending on what your situation is. So listen to what feels or resonates to you. Don't be surprised by anger coming out of left field at you, and know that it will be transformed easily. There's some sort of insight that you're going to get around a situation that angers you. So it's going to turn into a benefit. All right, Geminis. All right, Geminis. Recent passes the awareness card. So this is a aha. This is a breakthrough. This is getting understanding, breaking through your shadow, seeing something about yourself. I'm really seeing the shadow figure behind it. So maybe you're something that you couldn't see before, you've had revealed, like you saw something within yourself, or you had a download, you saw something about someone else. It's an aha, it's a realization. It's like, oh, now I see. So this has happened in the recent past. The bridge that's crossing right now is the moment to moment card. So this is taking it one moment at a time, the one day at a time kind of a thing. What today do I feel guided to do? What is the next right thing? What's the next step I can take? Where am I right now? Like pulling yourself back from whatever's happened in the past, pulling yourself back from worrying about the future. Right now is the point of power. What can I do today? What do I feel guided to do right now, this moment, moving forward? Near future is the playfulness card. So this is about having fun, lightening up, enjoying yourself, having a celebration, just laughing, laughter, like, oh, this feels like freedom and joy. And so something is like, there's something that's super fun. You're around someone that makes you laugh. You're feeling wonderful about yourself. You're feeling creative and inventive and just freer than you've been feeling. So it looks like it's a really good week for the Geminis this week, coming from realizations to having some fun somehow. All righty, Cancers. All right, Cancers, you have this playfulness card in the recent past. So you've had something happen where you've been able to lighten up. I'm feeling your heart has lightened. Like I don't know if someone else helped you relieve a heavy burden. It just feels like something lifted off of you, that you're feeling happier about something, more optimistic about something, enjoying your life more on some level. Lightness. It could even be like you have lost weight, but it just definitely feels like there's feeling more freedom. The bridge that's crossing right now is the source card, which is like the source of all things. This is God energy. This is higher self energy. This is the divine just showing up in a big way, like revealing very clearly where you're supposed to be going. The universe is showing you, I got you here. Like you are loved. You have everything you need right now. Life is good. It's a life is good feeling. The near future, we've got the outsider card. So at first glance, this card is the one that shows up for I can't. I can see where I want to go, but I just can't get there. So if you look closer at the lock there, it's not fastened. It's just hanging there. So this card symbolizes where we'll block ourselves just by saying, oh, I just can't do that. you know. And if you instead said, no, I can, what's the first step? Oh, okay, I take the lock off, I take the chain off, then I open the gate and I go through. You may not know like what's happening next week or next month, but you can know today, in the near future, you can know what the first step is. So this is an area where you're being challenged to change your thinking about can. It's like the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, instead of, no, I can't do that. I can't do relationships. I can't find a job. I can't, whatever you're telling yourself I can't, it's an opportunity to shift it into a I can. And then the success card is coming right after this. So um, this is an opportunity to really shift some karmic situation where you're getting in your own way by negative thinking. You're telling yourself you can't on some level, or you don't believe you can. And this is the week to change that and have a direct experience of a shift. Success. This tiger is also on the globe here. So not only does it represent success, as it says, it can also represent global travel, hearing someone from another part, hearing from someone on another part of the planet, or planning global travel. Um, so yeah, that's the energy behind for the Cancer this week. Leos. What's going on in Leo world? All right, so you've got the source card in the recent past, Leo. So this is the divine showing up in your life recently, showing you that you're loved, you're cared for, that you have everything that you need. And it feels like it's a demonstration where like, I can't believe that that happened. Wow, that's miraculous. It feels like a miracle, like a surprise, like I can't believe it. It was such a positive thing. It had to be, divine hand in it somehow. Right now is the exhaustion card representing you. This could be you're just tired of something. You're physically been doing too much. You've got too much on your plate. You may be a little bit sick. It could be allergies. You just feel kind of weighed down and heavy. And so it feels like it's maybe time to take it easy this week, Leo. In the near future is the going with the flow card, which is just letting yourself be guided, letting things flow, letting things come together. Things might not be completely what you want them to be, but it's like, okay, I'm just going to do what I can do today. And that's my best. Like, I may not be able to do my 100%, but if I can bring 80% to it, it's enough. So this is definitely a situation where you just have to be a little bit more patient with yourself. Let yourself off the hook. Not every day has to be, you bring your all. I just don't think you can this week, Leo. So don't beat yourself up for not having your full tilt boogie. You'll be back online. You'll be bringing that solar energy soon yourself. All righty, we got Virgos. The reason I'm shuffling down here is it's too loud when I shuffle on the table. Like y'all be going, oh wow, that shuffling is so loud. All right, so you've got the politics card, recent past. Politician is someone who shows you two different faces, neither one of which are who they really are. So this can be where you felt like you couldn't be truthful to someone else, or you've been lying, or someone else has been lying to you, or you've had to put up a false pretense just to feel, it feels like it's been self-protective, but definitely something doesn't feel right. And it may affect your gut, like, oh, I just don't feel right. Or this person is toxic and I don't feel right about around them. The understanding card is the bridge that's crossing right now. So this is having that insight, that aha. It's like where you were in a cage before, all of a sudden you see the way out. You see the way through. The birds really represent divine inspiration, psychic downloads, spiritual angels showing up and helping you out. loved ones that are of the same, like a, like feathered, flocking to you, getting support. Um, it's like feeling some relief and yeah, feeling like there is your tribe around. Near future for you is the exhaustion card. So, feels like you maybe just have a lot on your plate, biting off more than you can chew, just feeling, it could be a little bit of depression. Um, and this may be you being empathic too and feeling heavy for someone else here this week. Um, the extra card that I pulled with it is the past life card. So this is what makes me think it may be not even your exhaustion. It may be, this could be you're tired of your karmic pattern. You can be feeling bad for someone that you have a past life connection with. You could be tired of waiting for your person to show up or tired of waiting for a situation to shift. But the good news is this is shifting. Like some of this understanding and this insight feels like you may be quickly forgetting it. Like go back to what was that reveal? What was that aha that you had? Oh, that's right. So there is this past life energy coming in. I do feel like it's connected to a person this week that that you're getting information about someone that you've known in more than one lifetimes. And for some Virgos, you're getting information about like, oh, I need to stay away from this person. They're toxic. For other people, it's like, oh, finally, it's a sense of relief when this person comes in. It helps you move away from the toxic energy. So there's more than one scenario going on. I'm picking up for the Virgos, of course. But it feels like there's two completely different scenarios. Either on one hand, you're removing yourself from toxic people. Um, you may be feeling toxic, or there could be like finally you find some insights in someone coming in and someone coming in for support or help. Like, I'm tired of doing this alone. And then the person actually shows up for you. All right. So that's what I'm getting for the Virgos. Take a sip here. Libras. All right, Libras. This exhausting card is coming up again. I got a lot of people that are tired up here. So the exhaustion card's coming up for you in the recent past, Libras, and it just feels like, yeah, you just haven't felt like yourself. Everything feels exhausting and tiring. You may be going through some higher level changing and dimension shifting. Your guides may be working on you when you're sleeping, so you're needing to get more rest so you can, maybe you're detoxing something too. There's just the need for rest. So don't struggle with it. You feel sleepy, you feel tired, lay down, take a nap. That's what, and you may have been doing this because this is showing up in the recent past. So don't feel guilty about extra napping, extra sleeping, feeling tired. It will not last, it will not continue, but there's definitely like, ugh, I can't do this anymore. And then there's two cards representing some psychic downloads. So Libras, you are definitely going to have the psychic downloads this week. The turning in card's one of my psychic cards in a deck. It's about listening to intuition. It's about letting the information be channeled, knowing that you're going to be guided. What am I getting right now? What do I need to do with this energy right now? That's all you need to figure out is this one moment, this one day. The near future is the inner voice card. It's another one of the psychic cards. So this is also psychic downloads. This can particularly be connections with loved ones, other people that you also may feel connected to and or with. So you may be hearing from someone you have a psychic connection with. You may have someone come in that you feel very strongly intuitively connected to. You may be knowing or getting things before they happen for other people. It's like your psychic radar is on this week, Libra. So trust yourself, trust your intuition. I would write it down. It should be a very interesting week for psychic reveals, dreams that are especially vivid. So let me know if you get something good. All righty. So now we go on to the Scorpios. Alrighty, Scorpios. I saw how much I shuffled that deck too, right? Okay. Ooh. Okay, Scorpios. Could be kind of rough for y'all this week. Psychic stuff's been coming for you in the recent past. You've been getting information. Are you listening to it? That's the question. Are you following through into ways you've been being guided? Are you listening to intuition? Are you following what it's saying? That's what it feels like with this. Like you've been getting some psychic intuition. What have you been doing with it? Some of you have been listening to it, following, doing what you feel guided to do. Others, I feel like, are getting information and you're ignoring it, or you're not listening to it, or someone else has given you psychic information and you kind of blew it off. But now I feel like you're more receptive and open for it. Right now, the receptivity card is the bridge that's crossing. So it's like, okay, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to see. I'm willing to be shown. Like there's a willingness right now, an openness. And so there can definitely be some transformative downloads and reveals right now. And in the near future is the compromise card. So be careful. Don't step into a situation that does not feel right. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Don't do it. The guilt card is here. So this is also a situation where you are either feeling guilty about something or pulling your hair out about something or trying to figure something out. It feels like you're trying to do it alone. The isolation card is here. So you're struggling with something. You may need to just talk to someone, tell somebody. And then the exhaustion card's like you're wearing yourself into the ground with this internal, it's both emotional and feeling wise. Like the going with the flow card is the last card I pulled here, because there's so much of this inner turmoil. It's really about, what do I need to do right now? What do I need to do this moment? What do I need to do to nurture myself to feel at peace? Because it feels like there's something coming up this week. And if you can avoid compromising, if you can avoid not overriding your intuition, I think you can avoid all this gnarly scene. If you're not listening, if you're not paying attention, you can walk headlong into this stuff. Again, it could also be someone in your environment that's really struggling. And again, the more that you can step into it or you can step away from it and then protect yourself. So protecting your own energy is paramount this week, Scorpio. Listen to yourself. Do not override yourself. I mean, I think that's good advice for every day, but be on the lookout for something you may be drawn into somebody else's stuff. And like you can say, wait, no, just going to say no. Okay, we have the Sagittarius next. Okay, y'all are in a different story than everybody else. Silence card is showing up the recent past for you. This is about meditation, putting what you want out there, waiting for, it feels like you may have done some work around the new or the full moons in the past, and you've been waiting for your dreams to come true. You've been having spiritual time. You've been feeling connected. You've been feeling more at peace. The friendliness card is showing up as the bridge is crossing. So this could be a new friend, a new connection, a new relationship. Something new is blooming, finding connection with someone else. So that's exciting. It feels like it's new. It could be connecting with someone you know and love as well. But it feels like new connections, new relationships are showing up right now. And the near future is the slowing down card. So you're wanting to, like, if this is a new relationship that's just coming up, you want to proceed slowly. Let me not jump to any conclusions. Let me see how this reveals. I'm not in a rush here. Let's just see how this goes. Like this slowing down, this tortoise is not in a hurry. You know, it's moving at a slow pace. It's okay. It feels like a slow pace is totally okay. You want a slow and steady reveal is what it feels like. You want to slowly get to know this person. There's no rush here. But it feels really cool. It feels very like it could definitely be something, you know, you're excited and you're open and there's some new adventure you're doing. It feels like with somebody. All righty. Capricorns. Capricorns, recent past. This is another one of the psychic cards in the deck. So it's the integration cards, like listening to your intuition, putting it together. It's like feeling confident, getting information, having people, like it feels like you got your own intuition. It was confirmed here. You took action. It's like things have been good. You've been like in a good place with yourself, is what it feels like. Things have shifted. They're turning. You're seeing some things within yourself. You're being able to look at the dark side of yourself and not be too ashamed or guilty or whatever. You're just like, okay, yeah, that's my shadow self. Here's my positive. Being able to look at the pros and cons of your life in a good way, and feel like I'm okay. I'm whole. I'm doing the best I can do. I'm doing the best with what I've got to work with. The cards that's representing you right now is this same slowing down card. So it's like, okay, you may not have a lot of energy up for something, but you're moving persistently, consistently towards something. And that's all you need to do. Is better than being stuck, better than being overburdened. You're just like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take my own time with it. The near future is the master card. So this is feeling your best self. This is feeling that you are connected with your own higher self this week. Again, spiritual downloads, just feeling like, oh, I have a great life. You may be connecting with a guru type of person where you are just loving what they say, you loving their insights, having an amazing reveals. But this is a really powerful week this week for the Capricorns. It feels like there's a confirmation of your own intuition and just feeling good about your life, feeling good about the direction you're headed, feeling very empowered, very much connected with your spiritual higher self this week, Capricorns. Aquarians. Aquarians. All right, you little mavericks, what's going on with you this week? All right, recent past is the Lovers card. So you maybe have had a new love relationship show up. It can also be working on self-love, having a situation of connection that's just warming your heart, doing activities that you love. Like it's been good recently. Something really positive has happened. You're feeling like communication's been good. Maybe you wrote something new with someone. Um, Maybe you went after a dream or something, but it feels like there's a positive energy going on in your love life and your love for yourself recently. The bridge that's crossing right now is the new vision card. So there's Aquarians are feeling really good. You just had a birthday recently. You've like starting new projects. Maybe you're building a new home. You're starting a new exercise routine. You're starting a new job. Maybe this is a new relationship that just came in. You're feeling good about yourself though. So this is a happy, optimistic, positive Aquarian. And the near future is the participation card. So this is working with others, getting together with family, with friends, with loved ones. It's game night. It's the hoedown. We're gonna form the band. We're gonna do things together. It's just a gathering with others, working with others, and everybody's pulling their part. Everybody's working together. It feels like a lovely, lovely connection. Okay, y'all win so far, Aquarians. Your week looks the best out of everybody's. And the Pisces. Happy birthday to the Pisces. Last but not least, this new moon is in your sign. So this is your opportunity to really, I think you can take the most advantage of this new moon coming up next weekend. Anybody can take a ride on it, but It's going to be special sweet for you guys because it will have 4 planets in your sign. All right, the traveling card is the recent past. So this is a journey that you've been on. It can be a literal journey where you've been literally traveling. It can be a spiritual journey where you've been going through, say, the 12 steps, or you've been going through a therapy session, or you've been going through the evolution of your soul in some way, or you've been working on something and you're making progress. The past life card is the bridge that's crossing right now, which is someone powerful coming into your life that you've known before, clarity around past life karma, this sense of that you're feeling fulfilling your mission that you came here to do. Like, this is a super powerful time right now for you, Pisces, and you're aware of it, is what it feels like to me. Near future is the existence card. This is you feeling your place in all things, feeling cared for by spirit, getting insights, direction. This is wanting to meditate, wanting to connect with the divine, wanting to seeing your place in the universe, seeing shooting stars, seeing aliens. Like, this is, it's a just, it's like where you get to stop at the top of the mountain and just take it all in. So there's a really lovely week here as well for the Pisces, especially powerful with the past life card coming in right now, that there's definitely someone new that's come in. And it feels like as a result of causes you set, work you've done, you've encountered, or will be in the very near future encountering some confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be right now. You're on the right path, and you can take a break and just enjoy it and appreciate it. All righty. That's what I get for all 12 signs. Thank you so much. If you're still watching, if you watched all of this, thank you for your long attention. And once again, I'd love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like it, share it with your friends. Again, check out my Psyched Up business page on Facebook, and like that as well. Make a comment. I'll be posting this video there as well. So you may be seeing it as a result of that. So if so, let me know. All right. Let me know if you'd like to schedule a private session, psychic reading that includes channeling, astrology, the tarot, a past life regression, a rebirthing, psychic development session. You need to come clear your house or your office. All those things I can do. I'll be putting my contact information, my new website that's up and running, which is psychedupmovement.com. I'll be putting that link below as well. And again, the time stops for all the signs. They may not go up immediately. They'll go up within the next day or so, though. So, all right. Thank you so much. Appreciate all my clients and my viewers. All right. Peace.